smells like a Waffle House sink.
Waffle House is known for its 24-hour service, day or night, hurricanes or disasters. The Southern chain has a cult-like following, and while the all-star breakfast is the star attraction, there's some truly unique facts about Waffle House that many people don't know. For example, Waffle House has its own index to indicate the impact of natural disasters, something which doesn't seem to have anything at all to do with a restaurant. There's a lot of bizarre happenings around the yellow-roofed chain, so sit back as we explore the top 10 strange things to happen at Waffle House.
I've been dreaming about waffles for 1,800 miles.
Yeah, me too.
The gang of elderly men at Waffle House.
So you've had a lot of gang experience, basically.
There are gangs, Big Daddy.
Now, who would have thought a Waffle House would become a base of operations for a bunch of elderly men to conspire against the government? That's exactly what happened when, back in 2011, 4 men used to meet up at the Toccoa, Georgia Waffle House and get to plotting. The 4 men, Samuel Crump, Frederick Roberts, Ray Adams, and Dan Roberts, had named themselves the Covert Group. And that name sure sounds like a secret evil group planning nefarious plots to thwart the government, which was exactly what they were doing. Their plan was to blow up government buildings and kill people with poison from a bean plant in the area. To top it off, they also had affiliations with a militia group as well. They were arrested in November 2011 based on recordings of their meetings by an undercover informant. Because of the nature of the case, it has drawn a lot of attention, especially in regards to domestic terrorism. And also, you don't often hear news of 4 elderly men cooking up devious plans in a place no one would ever think such a thing could happen. But once you know the story of all the things going bump in the night at Waffle House, this one starts to look normal. Next time you're having a hearty breakfast at a Waffle House, make sure your eyes are peeled for elderly men sitting in groups and speaking in hushed tones.
Keep your eyes peeled.
New to our channel? Show us some love by hitting that subscribe button and ringing that bell to join our notification squad.
Join us or die.
Naked woman rampage at Waffle House.
You're completely
Nude? Yes.
If you thought a sinister government plot at a Waffle House took the prize for the weirdest stuff to happen there, think again. The Kennesaw, Georgia location was visited by a Georgian woman by the name Jennifer Nicholson. Apparently, the woman became very aggressive and created a ruckus. At first, she was witnessed preaching to the customers and prowling about the restaurant. Then, she was seen punching a woman in the nose and throwing a plate at her. If that wasn't enough to catch attention, she stripped naked and broke a window. The drama didn't just end there, as the woman scratched an officer while he was trying to subdue her and also lunged at another. Upon her arrest, it couldn't be interpreted as to why she behaved in that fashion, but her actions were considered as a suspected excited delirium state. It's not every day you come across a woman angry, naked, fist-fighting, window-smashing, and blocking your booth while you try to have your breakfast in peace. Hard times we live in. The Waffle House home. Waffle House can get a book published on the amount of strange stuff going on at the chain. Heck, they could use it to advertise their brand, and adventurers could walk by hoping to catch the next out-of-the-ordinary happening. Now that's an idea. Anyways, here's a story that would surely make one want to make the restaurant their home. Yes, that's right. One man in Augusta, Georgia thought of just that. A guy who was repairing the air conditioning back in 2011 noticed someone living on the roof of the Waffle House. No one knew how he got up there or for how long he had taken up residence on the roof. Later, he was taken to the hospital as he was suffering from dehydration. We assume the view must have been nice up there, or the man must have had his fair share of tree houses in his youth. Waffle House has become the center stage for all things random and weird, and this one sits proudly in this list. Employees better start checking their Waffle House roofs from now on. Who knows what could be living up there? Maybe an army of raccoons or little green men. Waffle House alert. Yes, Waffle House is also a conduit for bad people walking around luring children away. In a Port St. Lucie, Florida location, A teacher was nabbed by the cops for luring underage girls for sex. One of the undercover detectives was a woman who made a deal with the man by offering her young daughter as the prey. Of course, the whole thing was a setup to catch hold of the guy, and he was arrested at the Waffle House he was planning to meet the detective at. Unfortunately, this wasn't a solitary incident. In 2017, a Waffle House employee was arrested from the Goodlettsville, Tennessee restaurant on charges of possessing child pornography. Through anonymous tips, the Metro Nashville Police Department managed to get a hold of the man. The culprit later revealed that he also had uploaded the content on online platforms like social media. Next time you dine at one of the Waffle Houses and you suspect anyone looking at children funny, make sure you call 911.
Call 911!
Your tip is denied at Waffle House.
I don't tip.
You don't tip?
No, I don't believe in it.
When the customer is happy with your services and leaves you a fat tip for all your hard work, chances are your smile widens from ear to ear, dreaming about all the stuff you can purchase on Amazon. In 2014, one waitress, Shayna Brown, must have thought about that when she received a $1,000 tip by a generous customer. Unfortunately, her monetary dreams were short-lived when she wasn't allowed to accept such an amount, as it was against company policy. The North Carolina Waffle House waitress went back home without the huge sum, and the money was refunded to the customer's credit card. This story does have a happy ending though, as Brown managed to meet the generous person through a reporter who covered the story. She ended up getting a check for the tip by the customer. If you're working at a Waffle House and stuck around until wee hours of the morning like Brown did, you might be the next lucky employee to get a handsome tip, but not be able to accept it.
No, I can't accept this.
You have to. No returns. No exchanges.
Sorry, Waffle House. When you gotta go, you gotta go.
I have to pee.
As if Waffle House didn't have enough naked or weird people in their restaurants, another incident occurred in 2016. In Sandy Springs, Georgia, a man named Bashir Rashid decided to make the front door of the Waffle House his own personal toilet. The man peed outside the restaurant. Then he decided to give it a shot and walk inside, but alas, his waffle dreams were shattered as an employee prevented him from entering. Thankfully, he didn't try to get too ambitious and went back to his car. Charged with indecency and arrested, he got a ride to the hospital by the police. At least he didn't have to pay for gas. What are they putting in the waffle batter to make people act like this?
They're all crazy except you and me.
The Waffle House Brawl.
Fight! 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 Fight!
Before your imaginations run wild, assuming that Waffle House is the next WWE ring, that's not exactly the case. But it did try to imitate one. In 2007, Kid Rock and his band did a gig in Atlanta. After the performance, they decided to stop by a Waffle House and grab a bite. For reasons unknown, he ended up having an argument with a customer, which evolved into a brawl. Both parties gave their own versions for the cause of the fight, but no one truly knows the credible version. The court didn't find Rock's fist endeavors acceptable, and he and another musician who was part of the group had to shell out $40,000. A pretty steep price to pay for a restaurant scuffle, but that's what you get, Kid Rock. There's clearly no bad blood between him and the chain, at least not anymore. Kid Rock recently made a cameo in a music video for Waffle House Christmas, which was released by country music legend Bill Anderson.
Between you and me, looks like a musician.
Waffle House funeral services.
Your funeral.
What does a Waffle House have to do with a funeral, one might ask? Well, a faithful late patron, Lawrence Clark, passed away in 2003, and not many of Clark's relatives were there to eulogize. So Waffle House used the opportunity to give him the respect he deserved by organizing his funeral at the restaurant. The employees, patrons, and cooks gathered to give their salutations to Clark in the parking lot space, which used to be his favorite spot, complete with his mortal remains on top of the hood of a Chevrolet. There were also family photos decorated in wreaths and flowers, along with huge display boards. His niece added a touch inside the restaurant by placing his jacket on the back of his favorite chair, along with some black coffee, milk, and cigarettes, just the way he liked it. Now that's the way to commemorate someone who had a special affinity towards Waffle House. Let us hope Clark gets all the free meals in the heavens above, and a plaque to show the customers walking in that there was a man named Lawrence Clark, who was also known as the Waffle House Taxi Service, as he used to drop off people who didn't have transportation for their jobs. Taxi! Waffle House intimacy.
strangely intimate.
When you need your alone time for self-pleasure, a restaurant is hopefully not the first location you think of. Emmanuel Dwayne Williams Sr. would not agree. Working at the Waffle House in Macon, Georgia, Williams used the restaurant as his own private space back in 2015. Walking in, a customer would expect to get their Papa Joe's pork chop and eggs, but on that fateful day when Williams was on the path of self-discovery, instead they likely lost their appetite. According to a female employee working at the restaurant, Williams declared that sometimes he would pleasure himself at work, which at first she didn't believe. Fortunately, or perhaps unfortunately, there is video evidence of him doing the deed. The woman recorded a video of the incident as she thought no one in their right mind would believe such an event ever occurred. The video popped up on Facebook and was also sent to the local news. Williams was fired, as expected, and he and his girlfriend even tried to threaten the female employee for circulating the video online. It seems like sexual deviancy was not unfamiliar to him, as previously Williams served almost a decade in state prison for a 1999 rape conviction. He was charged for public indecency and probation violation. Let us all hope no one else gets such an idea, and that the customers don't end up witnessing such a sight instead of their waffles.
Avert your eyes, you perv.
The case of the Waffle House armed robbery.
This is a holdup!
In fall 2014, a man named Jason Philpott had decided that it was up to him to rob a Waffle House, with the help of an accomplice. They had come prepared, complete with black masks and a rifle. All armed and decked up for the crime, they held waitresses at gunpoint and commanded money from the cash registers, including tips. Since that didn't satiate their appetites, the men also demanded access to the safe as well. After forcing the waitresses to the back of the restaurant, they then got involved in a chase, with the DeKalb County Police on their tail. Philpott and Patrick Reese were eventually arrested, with Reese getting 10 years of jail time as he pleaded guilty of a robbery at McDonald's, which he had been a part of a few days before the Waffle House escapade. His partner Philpott was convicted of charges in August 2017, and prior to his robbery plan, he had also been charged for possession of drugs in 1998. Looking at the roster of things happening at the famous chain makes you wonder what can happen next at a Waffle House.
Oh God, what's next?
We won't hold you hostage, but why leave? Stick around and click on another one of our great videos. And to find out how to become an official Babble Topper, click on the join link in the description below.